much for sharing the live. Appreciate it. Hey, 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 my loves. Listen, 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 listen. We are live. We are live. Welcome to All Things Self-Mastery. I am your host, educator, and mentor, Venus Scott. For those of you who are new to me, welcome. It is a pleasure and honor to be connected with you. A little bit about me before we get into it. For those of you who may not know, I'm a self-mastery mentor and educator. What that means is, and I've been doing this for 15 plus years, and I am dedicated to empowering individuals to take control of their lives, take control of your life. And there are fundamental principles that is going to allow you to do that. Not only I empower individuals to take control of your life, I teach you how to master your reality. So my approach as an educator, it involves concepts, key concepts like understanding the fundamentals of governing principles. My core concept and teachings lie on the foundations of the fundamentals of mastering, manifesting, and attracting, right? Because our people do what? Our people perish for the lack of knowledge. We're going in circles because we lack knowledge and we lack the practices on how to, right? And so I teach principles on behavioral analysis, the essentials of energy, frequency, and especially language cymatics, right? It's one thing to talk about energy. It's one thing to talk about frequency. It's an entirely different thing when it comes to consuming information from individuals that are actually qualified, with all due respect, to teach about it. So welcome in this evening's masterclass, Thursday night masterclass. We're going to be talking about self-inflicted pain, trauma, and dysfunction. Woo! Listen, should I put a clause out there? Hi, Divine. How are you, my love? Should I put a clause out there? Okay. If you are under the age of 18, this is your opportunity to perhaps exit and leave the live stream. If you are mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically undisciplined, this is your opportunity to exit the live. If you do not know how to control your cognitive dissonance, it is your opportunity to exit the live, because I am here because of you. I am here because of me. I am going to share with you not only these fundamental principles so you can learn how to master self and master your reality. A lot of things that I'm going to say will trigger your cognitive dissonance. So I always say, have an open heart and mind so you can receive enlightenment, right? And instruction, right? Because I want you to do better. However, I won't force you. I don't force, I flow. So every Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, I host All Things Self-Mastery podcast. And the purpose is to give you the tips, tools, information, tricks, if you will, so that you can do just that. So continue to tap the screen for me. Continue to communicate with me in the comment section. If you see me looking here, there, and everywhere besides looking at you, it's because I am streaming on multiple platforms. Okay. So we're gonna dive right into it after these messages. Here we go. Why is this important? Why is this important for us to know, right? When it comes to self-inflicted trauma, right? When it comes to trauma, period. A lot of us are speaking about trauma. A lot of us are still healing from our trauma. We hear it, right? Trauma, 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 trauma bonding, trauma. We're still going through trauma, right? We're still speaking about trauma. We're having lots and lots and lots of conversations around trauma, right? And so it is my honor and a privilege and my responsibility to give you the deeper understandings, understandings, outer standings, and overstandings regarding all things that govern everything that you do, every decision you make, right? Everything and everyone who you attract in your life. I come to disrupt every dysfunction in you only if you allow me to. And you do that by receiving the information. And do not, always encourage, do not just take it from me. Know that you deserve to elevate. Know that every time you choose to reject taking the steps to elevate, to ascend, you are descending and devolving, right? Just look up what organisms do when they are not growing, when they are not expanding, when they are not evolving. So when it comes to this pronounced, this profound, right, thing called trauma, a lot of us don't have a deeper understanding or overstanding about it to actually correct and fix the things that we need to fix. Hence, you are continually repeating the same cycles. There is no logical sense as to why many of us are still healing from the same traumas, very different from a new trauma you experienced. I'm particularly speaking about the same traumas. Infinite gratitude. Thank you so much for the likes. Thank you so much for the shares. Please continue to tap the screen and share the live. Okay. Whether you are here on YouTube, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining me, right? There's no logical sense as to why many of us are still healing from traumas, having conversations about traumas, right? Arguing about all things trauma related. And here's what I come to tell you. The stories you continually repeat are the stories you continually live, right? And so I help individuals gain a deeper understanding, overstanding, and understanding of all of these things and concepts that are controlling and influencing your every behavior. Put a 1 in the comment section if you still want to be healing from past traumas. Yeah, I said that right. I should see no ones. I should see no ones. Now put a 1 in the comment section if you're tired of still healing from the same traumas, right? Now there are things that we often hear. No one is perfect. We are all human. Faithfully faith, infinite gratitude. She dates. Okay, wait a minute. She dates. Oh my goodness, honey. Goodness gracious. Okay, I see you. I see you. I see the ones, right? There are so many things that are influencing things that we keep experiencing. And I know I am not the only one who have witnessed so many of us on the just on the ledge, witnessing them jump off it or about to jump off it because it is overwhelming, right? The pressure is overwhelming. The pain is overwhelming, right? And so there is a such thing as self-inflicted trauma, right? Are we inflicting trauma, pain, and dysfunction on ourselves? And that's what we're going to get into. So who is this masterclass for this evening? Men and women who want to gain a deeper understanding of the inner why. And the most craziest thing I've heard someone say is, don't worry about the why. Both things can be true at the same time. If you do not understand for so many reasons the inner why, you will continually repeat the behavior pattern. And if you stick around, I'm going to prove to you and share with you indisputable facts and what makes that true. If you want to learn the how to finally stop healing from the same traumas after 10, 20, 12 plus years, if you're ready, and I say this with all due respect and sincerity, if you're ready to finally stop lying to yourself, do you all have any idea what you're doing when you are rejecting the indisputable truth that you know? It's not just a small thing, it's not just a small matter. It isn't. One of the first keys in learning how to master self and your reality is awareness. And I say the second is being transparently honest with yourself. For those of you who want to forge healthier relationships, not only with yourself, but others, those of us who actually want to attract a partner, to connect with a man or woman, to spend our life with, to share our life with, right? To do all of the wonderful things and the not so wonderful things, let us call it, right? For those who actually desire partnership, desire marriage, for those of us who actually want to attract, right? Want more wealth, want financial freedom, want more security, all of these different things. This masterclass is for you. So we're going to get into it because a lot of us are self-inflicting the trauma we think. We currently think that others are inflicting upon us, right? And so it is important that we are being transparently honest with ourselves, and you don't have to verbalize it, right? Peace, Ashley. How are you, love? You don't have to necessarily go climb to the top of the mountain and shout it out, but being transparently honest with yourself matters. There is no logical sense that you are still dealing with the same traumas from 10 years ago. Not just one trauma, multiple traumas. And then you wonder why you're not manifesting the money. You're not manifesting or attracting the wealth and the opportunities and the man or woman in your life. You're not energetically in alignment with that, because what you feed continually grows and what you starve loses power. Let me say that again in a different way. What you feed gains power and what you starve loses power, right? Whether you indirectly understand this or not, this is what's happening, right? And so the reasons why my foundation is built upon neuro reprogramming is because if you do not understand what neuro reprogramming is, you're going to find yourself repeating the same unhealthy behavior patterns. You're going to find yourself continually allowing people in your life that do not serve your higher purpose, your new purpose. Instead, they're going to act as an anchor, keeping you to your past. Infinite gratitude, love. How are you? Right? How are you, Big Daddy? Right? So these are the things that we're bypassing. And you think just because you're having conversations about it, it's helping. You think the more you speak about a situation, right? You think just because you say certain things, you're gonna get different results. Let me fill you in on something, my loves. Thinking something, speaking something, and being something, operating in that something is three entirely different things. And one of the reasons why we keep repeating the same unhealthy behavior patterns is because a lot of you currently don't know as much as you think you know, especially when it comes down to certain things, like I said, understanding language cymatics, how that how that profoundly affects your decisions and what and who you attract in the reality that you're living in. Not understanding neurobiology, not understanding the neurosciences, not understanding fundamental principles when it comes to the same principles that are governing you. Remember, the more you repeat a story, the more you continually live it. I did a masterclass on this some weeks back. Your language is fudging you up, right? So this masterclass, we're going to focus on understanding self, understanding what affliction is. Those of you who know me know I like to remind you of what these things actually mean. Sometimes I break down the etymology and the frequency of these things. Everything is frequency. Sometimes we go deep into it. So we're going to be understanding what trauma actually is, the core of it, not just the shallow end of it. I'm happy you're active. How are you? But also don't let me cut your wisdom. It's all good, my love. We're going to be going over identifying self afflictions, discovering concepts, understanding the inner reason why you do what you do, why you keep doing the things that you're doing. And one of the main reasons why many of us are not attracting, as I stated earlier, what and who we desire. Infinite gratitude, my love. Thank you for the rose. Thank you for the rose. Right? What and who we desire is because of subconscious dominant programs that we are indirectly feeding. I'm going to say that again. The subconscious dominant programs that we are indirectly feeding. And if you do not understand what I'm saying, I would encourage you to learn, to sit down and learn. So y'all ready to dive deeper? Y'all ready to dive deeper? Self-inflicted pain, trauma, and dysfunction. I'm going to help you gain a deeper understanding as to why you're still healing, as to why you're still lying to yourself, being dishonest with yourself, as to why you're not getting your desired results. Now, if that matters to you, stick around. If it don't, be my guest, okay? Because these little grants, baby, they got to go. So let's dive a little deeper. Last week, every Wednesday, I put up 5 facts about different things. And this Wednesday, if you haven't seen the post, I would encourage you at another time to go look at it, right? It was on self-inflicted pain and trauma. And we're going to go through these 5 real quick before we get into the lesson. And I'm going to elaborate on a few of them as we go on. So, here are 5 facts about self-inflicted trauma and dysfunction. Internalized trauma, past experiences of abuse, neglect, or unresolved traumas can lead to self-affliction, right? So, is it truly that you're experiencing new traumas or that you're still experiencing the same traumas and you think that they are new traumas? The second one, low self-worth. These are 5 facts that's going to help you understand if you are, which most of us are, self-inflicting this traumas on you. Low self-worth, individuals who perceive themselves as unworthy or inadequate. You're unconsciously engaging in self-destructive behaviors. Now, I know that's not any of us, right? Because let us tell it, I love myself. I know what self-full love is. I got boundaries and I have standards. And I'm not going to let anybody do what I don't deserve done to me. Okay? I have self-respect and honor and this is all it is. Because if what you're saying isn't aligning with the life that you're living, then what you're saying has no power. Things that you want, need, and or desire, things that you are saying, especially repeating, should be in alignment with the life that you're living. And I know that isn't the fact for many of us. I know that isn't the fact for many of us, right? So you can hoop and holler and say how much you love yourself, how much you respect yourself, how much you honor yourself, right? Look at the receipts of your reality because they're not going to lie to you. Guilt and shame is another self-inflicted trauma, right? That we're doing on our own, right? These persistent feelings of guilt or shame drives individuals to self-punish themselves, right? Self-punish themselves. You feel guilty or shamed because of things that you've done, things that you've allowed that did not serve your purpose. And it is one of the reasons why you are still self-inflicting pain on you. So when it comes to understanding self-inflicted pain, trauma, and dysfunction, I'd like to offer you different perspectives on how to get to the answers that you need. Now, keep in mind, these are just fundamental principles and practices, and by no way, shape, form, fashion, or style is this the remedy for all of your needs. Because not only do you need to gain the information, retain the information, you do not keep what you don't cultivate. Right? And so this is just a small step that can yield the grandest results. Peace, Ashi. How are you, my love? Lord, can't wait till the class to start, because that one, that one-on-one wasn't nowhere near enough. I know. And that's okay too. It takes practice. Gaining the information is one thing. However, what good is it serving you if all you're doing is gaining information? If all you're doing is reading, if all you're doing is listening, if all you're doing is consuming, which is not a bad thing, it's not an unhealthy thing. However, what good is it if you're not cultivating the practices and the information that you've learned? It simply isn't going to work, which is why we're still arguing back and forth with one another. Infinite gratitude for the support, follow, Wendy. Which is why we're still in foolish, toxic debates about who's right, who's wrong, who's supposed to lead, right? Who's supposed to, if it's 50-50, okay. We're still arguing and debating. Infinite gratitude. Peace, Riz. How are you, my love? We're still arguing about the most foolish things. We're still having conversations about the same things over and over again. So do not misconstrue what I'm saying. Information is key. However, there's another part to that that is equally important. Gaining the information is one thing, right? That's a part of it. However, that's not going to change anything if you're not practicing and cultivating, right? So I just wanted to let y'all know that prerequisites right there. So I like to break these things down. Since we're talking about self-inflicted pain, trauma, and dysfunction, right? Trauma, 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 trauma. Understand self. Understand self. You are not just your physical avatar. Yourself is triune. Yourself is not just one part. Yourself, your divine essence, is part spiritual, soul, part physical, and part mental. Your spiritual self is your most authentic self, your most beautiful and powerful self. Remember in the beginning when I said what you feed gains power and what you starve loses its power? One of the reasons why so many of us have a deficit in spiritual power, soul power, right, and mental power is because we're feeding only the physical aspect of who we are. So guess what's going to happen? If you go to the gym and you only work out the right side of your body, guess what the left side is doing? It isn't staying the same, right? It's getting weaker. It's getting weaker and weaker. You're losing juice. So when it comes to understanding things like trauma, especially what we're discussing, self-inflicted trauma, you have to understand everything that's attached to it, right? Your physical is just your avatar. And so many of us are trying to change things from an external perspective, from an external sense, and it doesn't work. How many times do you have to keep repeating the same things over and over and over and over again before you understand what you're doing isn't working? Before you realize what you're talking about isn't it? How many times do you have to fall before you realize your legs is weak and you need to strengthen them? How many times do you have to hit the wall, right? The self is the conscious essence of you. It is a part of, interconnected with. Feed not just the body, but the mind and soul. They all crave nourishment. Ashe. A lot of our spirit souls, right, are starving. The mental aspect of who we are, right, especially when it comes to the mind, which is why the foundation of my teachings is neuroscience, neuro reprogramming. Infinite gratitude, Sandra. How are you, my love? Right? Your mental is the motherboard of everything you've done, you're doing, and you will continually do. Your thoughts, concepts, attitudes, beliefs, judgments, known or unknown, right? How you perceive self, your self-worth, your beliefs, your narratives, your philosophies, concepts, your the world, the catalyst that influences your behaviors, the signals, your command center. A lot of us are not in control of our own command center, right? Is a difference between you being a master of self and you being mastered by other people, places, and things. And that's what we have to understand. Now let's move to the affliction part. Infinite gratitude, love, infinite gratitude, Riz, understanding affliction, right? And so I absolutely feel and know that it is an honor for me to do what I do, right? I encourage us to get to a deeper understanding of these things because nothing is going to work in your favor. And if you think you're going to remain the same, you are sadly mistaken. Just take a look around. Sit with yourself long enough to understand that the frequency is off balance, right? Off balance. Do you not think that you're playing a part in that? Dive in deeper is what we need. You do not have to be afraid of the depths of in which you should be going to. When it comes to affliction, this refers to the state of suffering, distress, hardship caused by physical, emotional, which is energy in motion, emotional, or spiritual challenges. And a lot of us are still healing, still on our healing journey. And please don't misunderstand me. There's nothing wrong with being on your healing journey. But let's be transparently honest. Remember, I come to disrupt every dysfunction you have if you allow it. Ask yourself this question: why are you still on your healing journey a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, 15? Why are we still here? Why are we still on this healing journey? Do you really think that time heals all wounds? Remember, time does not heal anything. First of all, it's an illusion, but that's a whole nother masterclass. Time does not heal anything. You know what heals? You know what's create desire? You know what creates desired results? The information you have, the decisions that you're making, and you cultivating the new information. So a lot of our traumas are self-inflicted because we keep repeating them. We keep telling them the stories, right? For a variety of reasons. In the broadest sense, it can also describe the negative influence. And before I get there, let me jump back to this thought. There are a lot of our brothers and sisters who think that suffering is there's a lot of our brothers and sisters who think that life cannot be without suffering, that suffering is attached to attracting all things that you want, need, and or desire. That suffering supposed to occur in order for you to reach your heaven. That's not accurate, my loves. So a lot of our mentals are really warped and skewed. And I get it. This is why I teach reprogramming. I get that a lot of our behaviors are stemming from programs that are deeply embedded in our subconscious that we are unaware of, right? Even though we keep hitting the wall, right? Y'all ready to dive deeper? The choices toward change will lead you forward. Ashe. Ashe. Sandra says, I have not learned how to heal, but I'm learning. Can childhood trauma hold a person? Absolutely. Here's a little bit, and I'm going to go into it a little bit deeper, Sandra. Childhood traumas, any trauma. First of all traumas have been I will rephrase that. The conception of all traumas, right, is from the past. 99.99999% of the traumas that we are experiencing is because of the past. So if you are still dealing with traumas, you are still deeply connected to the emotional cords that are connected to those same traumas. And the more you indirectly or directly feed it, the more it gains power, which is why a lot of us find it extremely hard and challenging to actually grow from the trauma, to actually be healed, right? Here's a little jewel for you. Here's a little jewel for you, right? Whenever you repeat a traumatic story, you are firing all of the neurotransmitters, the connectors that is tied to that, keeping you bound to your past. So if you're not creating new neural networks, new stories, new thoughts, guess what you're not creating? Your new self, new opportunities. And that is something we don't really understand. Internalized traumas, right? Past experiences of abuse, neglect, unresolved issues leading to self-infliction. They are coping mechanisms. They are deeply seated. Deeply seated. The conception of the experience, the trauma, just think about it like this. When it first happens, it's like a mustard seed. It's very small, very small. But guess what happens to a mustard seed when it's planted? Guess what happens to that same mustard seed when you keep watering it and feeding it? Guess what it's going to do, good people? It's going to grow. It's going to get stronger. Right? And you not understanding how trauma actually works, the inception of trauma is like you, once the tree have grown, right, in strength, powerful, that's just like you cutting the leaves off the tree. Just like you taking the scissors and like cutting away all the leaves, all the branches of the tree, right? And you think you're doing something. But guess what? What happens to weeds that people just cut? What happens? I know y'all intelligent folk. Somebody answer in the comment section. What happens to weeds if you just cut them? I'll wait for a second. What happens to weeds if you just cut them? This is how. th- There we go, Sandra. There we go. Guess what? They keep growing. Why? Because you cutting what you can only visually see, right? Isn't doing anything. Why? Because now that same trauma, just like that seed, has roots that now is running deep into the soil. The soil is your life. You can't just cut those roots from the surface. You're going to have to dig deeper and stand that, my loves. Because if you don't, guess what you're doing? Wasting your time and nothing stays the same. Essence, yes, they keep growing back. This is how many of us deal with traumas. We think we can just cut the leaves and the branches. I mean, yeah, we're saying, oh, you got to uproot. A lot of us understand the concept of digging it up from the root. But if you don't know how, what's going to happen? Yes, you must rid the root. And what we're doing is indirectly feeding every root, every traumatic root. Every time you talk about it, every time you argue about it, every time you think about it, every time you're energetically feeding the roots of those traumas. So this is why I'm speaking about self-inflicted trauma, pain, and dysfunction, whether you know it or not. Sandra, I'm telling you how. Every time you speak about it, every time you speak about it, you're feeding it. Every time you entertain the thought, you're feeding it. Every time you're not creating new neural pathways, you're feeding it. That's how you're indirectly feeding it. So it continues to grow. And then we wonder why we get to the point with, and then we're speaking, also feeding. Every time we say, oh my goodness, it's hard to get rid of it. It's challenging to get rid of it, right? It's tough to heal, right? The wounds are so deep. Every time you do such a thing, you say such a thing, you're feeding it. And a lot of us are not minding what we speak. And we're just haphazardly running off at the mouth. Peace, Oma, infinite gratitude, my loves. How are you? We're indirectly feeding it. And I listen, right? This is why I teach self-mastery and I go deeper into these lessons. Those who want it will accept it and receive it. Those who don't, by all means, right? I've learned to yeah, you got to do something different in order to get different. And we're not getting different because we lack the information. We lack the information. Self-inflicted trauma stems from low self-worth. You can shout to the top of the moon and back about how you love yourself, how you worthy, right? How you're not going to allow this and allow that. Is it aligning with your life? Do you have people in your life who is in alignment with that, who is showing up like that? Guilt, shame, all of these things are contributions, right? Understanding trauma. Is time out just speaking about trauma, just having conversations about trauma, and you don't have all the facts, and you need them if you're going to stop repeating the same self-inflicted traumas onto yourself. If you want to stop, if you want to dig up the roots, if you want to stop repeating the same unhealthy behavior patterns, if you want to stop getting the same results, you need the information, and then you need to understand the how to apply the practices so you can get new results. How do I stop feeding it? Do the very opposite of what I said. If you don't stop, then you simply practice stopping. You take one step after the other. You get mentoring. So someone who is an expert in that area, such as myself, or someone like me who is qualified to teach you how to, right? Understanding trauma on a deeper level. There's reasons why you continually think about it. And every Thursday evening, I come before you and do the very best I can. I spend a lot of energy, effort, and investment. And I love it. I'm a student of life. I love learning. I love learning. I love reading. I love educating. I invest plenty to prepare these lessons to share with you to help you, right? Understanding trauma on a deeper level. The reasons why many of us are still dealing with, suffering from, healing from, right? Feeding the traumas is because we don't yet, one or two, one and or two or both. We don't understand the sciences behind it. We don't understand the inner workings, the mechanisms behind what trauma actually is. Yes, we know it's from a past experience. Yes, we know it comes from abuse. Yes, we know it comes from your abuser. But do you understand the psychological concepts and principles as to why you're still not healed from it? And then the second thing is we do not yet, emphasis on yet, understand the practices. The practices, right? When triggered, how do I stop the thoughts or feelings? Sandra, if you are interested in all of your questions being answered, you are more than welcome to take the next step and schedule a one-on-one with me. And then I can give you the intimate, personalized conversation and assessment that you need. Okay, you're more than welcome, my love. I appreciate your questions. However, I can walk with you, but I won't walk for you. Okay, my love, you're more than welcome, right? I mentor many women weekly, right? And that's why those sessions, those personal sessions are reserved, because this is just teaching this evening. I would answer some of the questions, but when it comes to in-depth, right? That's how you can have all your questions answered and learn. Trauma. What is trauma? Trauma is the emotional or psychological response to deeply distressing or disturbing experiences that oftentimes overwhelm us, right? And then we have all of these unhealthy mechanisms to cope with them. They result from events, as I stated earlier, the abuse, the abandonment, all of these different things. And y'all want to know something? Over time, trauma can shape your belief systems. And a lot of you are not currently understanding what your deeply rooted belief systems are. You're welcome, my love. Mecca, how are you? Here's a fact that you need to know. On a deeper level, traumas are the energetic cords, right? The energetic cords, the deeply embedded programs that lie in the subconscious mind. And for those of you who do not understand this, everything you do, everything you think is because of your strong, dominant mental programs. This is one of the reasons why it's hard for many of you to stop doing things that you no longer want to do, that you know is causing you a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. This is one of the reasons why a lot of you are still healing, why a lot of you are in isolation in vain, why a lot of you keep consuming information as a quick fix. So guess what you're going to get? A quick result. Guess what you're not going to get? a long-term result, right? Let me say that again. When it comes to trauma, on a deeper level, traumas, the inception of your traumas, the inception of all of the abuse, right? All of the torment, physical, mental, all of the anguish, all of the everything that causes you to feel unease, right? They are energetic cords. They are energetic cords. They are mental embedded programs that lie in the subconscious mind. What does that mean, Venus? It means that they're not easily accessible for you to just speak change. This is why I say you can speak affirmations till you turn blue. You can create all the vision boards if you want to. Yes, affirmations is a part of it. Yes, visualization is a part of it. Yes, they're a part of it. Frequency energy is at the base, the core of it. However, if you do not understand that you have to tap into your subconscious motherboard to change the embedded program that's telling you that you are still bonded to that particular trauma, guess what you're going to keep doing? Feeding it. Therefore, it's going to keep growing. So when I hear certain people sometimes talk about, oh, energy, you got to be in alignment and all of these different things, I'm like, what? You have a lot of religious folk now talking about, yeah, if your energy and frequency and you got to be in alignment and all of these, we're speaking about these things, listening to people who are unqualified. Explain it and teach it. Why is that important to you? Because these are the same people who are in your pockets, indirectly teaching you nothing that's going to help you, indirectly feeding the same traumas you're feeding. That's why it's important for you to know. Just because a person says a thing does not mean they understand, understand a thing, especially when it comes to translating that thing, when it comes to helping you actually change the thing. And many of you are out here consuming this information and you're not paying attention. You're not tapped in to your divinity, your powers, your gift, and you're wondering why you're being knocked around like a rag doll. You're wondering why you keep going through the same traumatic experiences. 1 minute you're here, 1 minute you're there, 1 minute you're up, 1 minute you're down, 1 minute you're left, 1 minute you're right, 1 minute you got it, 1 minute you don't. That's an unhealthy algorithm, right? So yes, I come before you every Thursday evening, and I take my time to teach you these things. I mean, not too much time, but I take my time to teach you these things. Those of you who get it will. Those of you who won't. It's okay. It is absolutely okay. Infinite gratitude. Hi, Queen Code. How are you, my love? Infinite gratitude for all of the supporters, meaning what they say followers. Infinite gratitude for the supports. Self-inflicted trauma refers to the way in which individuals consciously or unconsciously perpetuate the pain of the past traumatic experiences through harmful behaviors, beliefs, emotional patterns, rather than actually getting to a point where you're healed from the trauma, right? Reinforcing the emotional wounds in your daily lives. Let's go back to the quote in which you should write down. What you feed will gain power, and what you starve will lose power. How do you feed, Venus? I'm going to say it again for those who are just joining me. How are you indirectly feeding? How are you self-inflicting this trauma onto yourself? Here's why. Again, every time you repeat the traumatic story, Every time you speak in adverse, the opposite of what you actually want, you're feeding the trauma. Every time you are experiencing negative internal dialogues with yourself, you're feeding that trauma, the traumas, right? And so guess what? Now it's gotten to the point where it's so powerful. Perspective. I offer you perspectives. Why is perspective so incredibly important? Perspective is a powerful tool that shapes your understanding, your interactions with not only yourself, but the world. It allows you to see, to reflect from different angles, not just from one angle, right? It gives you an advantage point so you can see the totality of what's going on internally as well as externally, right? Allowing you to foster healthy emotions. When you embrace diverse perspectives, you open yourselves to gain advantages in life, leading to more informed thought processes, healthier internal dialogue, mental reprogramming, reshaping your reality, the gaining of control. It allows you to actually master self. What I mean by master self, I don't just mean master your triceps, biceps, hips, thighs, and breasts. When I say master self, I mean master your triune self, right? Your physical, soul, spirit, mental self, not just one aspect of self. It allows you to have a deeper appreciation for the complexities of who you are in life. So understand this. This is another jewel. Peace, Chairman. How are you, honey? Coach, how are you, honey? Pardon me. Understand this. This is another jewel for you. Nothing changes unless you change it. Right? A lot of us give up quickly when we're on our healing journey. A lot of us give up quickly because the pain is overbearing. The stress is overbearing. The anxiety is overbearing, right? The growth is overbearing. It's just too much. It requires too much. Here's something I want you to understand. When you are introducing something new to your motherboard, i.e., to your mind, i.e., to your subconscious, your mind, your brain does not understand how to differentiate it from something being healthy or unhealthy. It's like a puppy dog. You have to train it. This is why you need to know the how. Gaining the information is one thing. Applying the information is another thing. And then understanding the processes that's going to happen whenever you take that first step. A lot of people think when you start manifesting and attracting what and who you want. Let me say that again. Many of you misinterpret the signs when you are in the process of attracting what and who you want. One, not realizing that you're already attracting, you're already manifesting all the time, and that everything exists. Many of you are disrupted and disturbed by what happens next because you don't understand the process. So you misinterpret, right? Chaos for dysfunction. You misinterpret disorder as something wrong. You misinterpret the symptoms of your elevation, of your process. And that encourages you or impels you to back away from it, to give it up because you think something is wrong. Example, if someone is sick and tired of their current job, current career, you don't like your boss, you don't like the employees, you don't like what you do, you don't like them taking advantage of you, you don't like the environment, you don't like, and you've been feeding this. You've been feeding this thought. You've been feeding this program, right? You've been strengthening this program. The minute you decide, the minute and moment you intentionally decide to want something different, to change, guess what's going to happen that's supposed to happen that many of you run from? Disorder. You might get fired. You may get fired. You may get laid off. You may find yourself doing something in which there's no point of returning. And then many of you, because you don't understand what's happening, and that what's happening is actually working in your favor, because you intentionally set a frequency, i.e. thought, i.e. visualization, i.e. program, that you don't want to be there no more. You want to do something different. You want to hop, skip on over to another job. You want to know a career. You want another career. Perhaps you want to go into business for yourself. Perhaps you, whatever it is. Y'all have heard this term. How can you expect to open the many doors that's purpose for you to open if you're not closing all the doors that are no longer serving you? That's not how it works, right? So perception is one of the key elements. One of the key elements. So back to the tips. I'm going to give you a little deeper understanding. The 5 facts of self-inflicted pain or trauma and dysfunction. The first tip that I gave is internalized trauma. Past experiences of abuse, neglect, unresolved trauma. All these things can lead to you self-inflicting. And I know people's like, oh, I don't self-inflict trauma on myself. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Yes, it is. All your issues is because of you. The issue is it's you. It's always going to be you. And the moment you accept that is the moment you start to elevate. Right? Self-inflicted unresolved traumas. And then we use them because it's a coping mechanism, because it's a deep-seated emotion. You know what? I got caught up in it. Please tap the screen. Please tap the screen. Share the live. Let's keep the algorithm going. Okay. We know that this is AI. All right. And AI is going to do what AI is going to do. Let's keep the energy flowing. Okay. In a positive direction. Infinite gratitude and thank you so much. So an example of internalized trauma that is very familiar to a lot of you is, let's say that you've been abandonment. And this is something that I personally had to master and elevate from. Abandonment. A lot of us deal with abandonment. Let's say you were emotionally neglected as a child. Let's say you were continuously abandoned by the boys and girls, men and women who you connected yourself with, boyfriends, girlfriends, etc., whatever title you want to put on it, right? Unconsciously, you push them away because you internally, unconsciously, unknowingly fear eventually being left. And so when it comes to a lot of us still on our healing journey, especially when it comes to traumas that are related to romantic and actual experiences, this is why. it's getting harder and harder for you. This is why many of us are feeling the weight, right? The weight of these traumas. And what you don't know is that you're indirectly feeding it and making it stronger. Every time you resist and reject and don't do what you need to do, you're indirectly feeding it. Every time you consume information that's not actually going to help you be healed instead of still healing from this, you're indirectly feeding it. Okay? There is no rhyme, reason, justification as or excuse as to why we're still healing 10 years later. The second one was low self-worth. Individuals who perceive themselves as unworthy or inadequate may unconsciously engage in self-destructive behaviors, believing they don't deserve happiness or success. I've mentioned this several times in the past. You do not manifest what you do not have. You do not come into alignment what you're not in aligned with. I'm going to say that again. You do not come into alignment of what you're not in alignment with. So if what you want to attract, manifest, or come into alignment with, i.e., infinite love, gratitude, appreciation, you want the man or woman or people, friends, family, co-workers, whoever, to respect you, to honor you, to genuinely love you, to not see you for just your avatar or what you can give to them. Just because of who you are, and just because they know that you are them and they are you and we are us. You're not attracting and connecting with these things via in the form of interactions with people because you're not in alignment for that. You're still broken because you're in alignment with brokenness. You're still confused because you're in alignment with confusion. You're still misled because you're constantly following people that are misleading. Because if you really understood energy, frequency, okay, vibration, you would know what I'm talking about. You would also know that there's no such thing as you can't have what you want. Because guess why? Because guess why? You already getting what you don't want. Therefore, it is your limited belief systems, your dominant mental programs that are embedded and encoded that is still deeply influencing you to vibrate on everything but that. A person with low self-worth will repeatedly choose unhealthy or toxic relationships because you unknowingly or knowingly, unconsciously don't think you deserve it. You don't know you deserve it. You don't know what it's like. So you reject it because you don't know how it feels, how it tastes. You don't know, right? I use this example, right? Before I started getting into alignment and being in alignment with, let's say, one of our favorite topics, money, I was unaligned with the flow of currency, right? I didn't realize that I was in alignment with poverty because poverty is all I knew. Lack is all I knew. That was what I was surrounded with. So I began to unknowingly feed that program. And it got stronger and stronger and stronger. And for the love of all things pure, I did not understand Why my money kept playing ping pong with me. One minute I got it, one minute I don't. Every time I fill my pouch, it will fall out. Every time I get it, I would lose it. This is before I really understood, understood, overstood, and understood what I'm teaching you now, right? However, it took cultivating, it took practice. So everything that I'm teaching you now, I first went through myself, practiced it myself, taught others myself, right? A lot of us that are struggling with finding love and finding like that spiritual love and agape love and genuine love and all the things and the opportunities, it's because you're not in alignment, my loves. You're not. Because if you were, you would be telling a new story. You would be creating the reality that you desire to live in. You would be speaking different, walking different, talking different. You would be rejecting different. You would be consuming and digesting different. Your boundaries and your standards would be different. The way you uphold them would be different. Everything would be different. And it's not because we don't understand as much as we think we do. And you become what you consume. If you keep filling up the trash can with garbage, it's going to start to stink up the whole house. If you keep consuming inaccurate information, right, it's going to trickle into every compartment of your life, right? And it's going to pile up until you finally do something about it. Self-inflicted trauma also stems from guilt and shame, persistent feelings of guilt or shame driving people to self-punish themselves. Individuals who feel they need to constantly atone for their past actions. For whatever the reason, it's irrelevant in the context of what I'm speaking now. How many parents let their children get away with the most ungodly things because you feel guilty, because you wasn't the parent who you now are, because you wasn't the parent you thought you should have been, because you were the very same parent your parent was that you never wanted to become and which you became. So now you feel that you have to atone and keep forgiving and keep forgiving and keep justifying and keep lying and keep just excusing other people's poor behaviors, especially your children, because you feel you have to constantly make up for something you did 10, 5, 2 years ago, even down to last month. Self-inflicted trauma, whether you know it or not. A lot of us are overwhelmed by guilt, shame. So we allow the abuse. We allow people to violate. We allow, and we keep excusing, and we become desensitized to people's poor behavior. We become acceptable of the lies, of the cheating, of the disrespect, right? So we say, oh, I can't trust nobody. I don't trust nobody. No, baby. No, baby. It's not that you don't trust them. You don't trust yourself. It's not that you don't forgive them. You don't forgive yourself because you're still trying to atone, make up for it, compensate for it, because you're not in full acceptance. You haven't fully accepted things that were. Doesn't matter if they get it or not. Because guess who continually suffers? you, right? Deceptively unique. Peace, love, right? Stop lying to yourselves, my loves. Stop lying to yourselves. So each month or each other month, typically each month, at the end of each month, the last Sunday of each month, I give a masterclass, exclusive masterclass, right? Not held on here, not held on here. It's for individuals who are actually ready to take the next step, right? So this month masterclass, October 27th, will be conducted depending on how many individuals register, right? This is the sneak peek of what's in that masterclass. We're going to be talking more about how memories are stored in the brain through complex processes involving various regions and neural networks. That's what I call by mental program. A lot of you, I've gotten a lot of questions on how do you mental reprogram? What is mental reprogramming? Well, October 27th, the end of this month, the last Sunday of this month, I'm going to be teaching you. Those of you who are interested, click the link in my bio and register. Secure your seat. We're going to be talking more about encoding. When we experience something, I'm going to be speaking more in depth about the sensory information, how you perceive sight, touch, taste, smell, feeling, how it gets processed differently in the parts of your brain and your mind, the key roles that it plays in encoding information, hence your dominant mental database that is keeping a lot of you self-inflicting pain and trauma. Infinite gratitude. Peace. How are you, Son LT? Peace, Coach Derek. How are you, my love? Right? We're going to be going a little bit deeper into allowing you to understand the role that coding plays on a neurological basis, right? Understanding mental programming, right? Understanding what coding is, understanding what neurotransmitters is, because it has everything to do with why you keep doing the things that you're doing. And after its initial encoding, I'm going to be showing you how it occurs in your sleep and how when you enter the delta state, the theta state in your sleep, everything that's in your subconscious, it's being fueled, right? Is being strengthened, right? I'm going to show you, I'm going to be teaching you how they solidify, how your short-term experiences, i.e. past traumatic experiences, are generating and creating long-term effects, which is why many of us are still healing 5, 10, 20, 15 years and counting. I'm going to be sharing with you the deeper understandings and reasons as to why that is, right? Because that's your neurotransmitters, your neural networks are not firing. They're not firing. They're not creating new pathways. So your life isn't changing and getting better. And if it does, it's only for a short term, because it's not strong enough for it to become a dominant database, right? And this leads to repeated unhealthy behavior patterns. So when we recall memory, our brain reconstructs. This is why I teach from a neuro programming, reprogramming foundation, because this is what's required to reconstruct it by activating new neural networks so you can stop enforcing the same unhealthy behavior patterns. Yes, that's one of the reasons. Yes, Ashi. One of the reasons, yes. Your dreams are fragments of everything, all of the coded programs that lies in your unconscious database. However, another perspective is that you're also experiencing you in a multi-dimensional way. That's another masterclass, so I'm not going to get into it. Okay. So listen, my loves. Listen, love you long time. If you have enjoyed this masterclass, it's even a masterclass on self-inflicted pain, trauma, and dysfunction, right? Be sure that if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Is absolutely free. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss a Thursday evening when I'm teaching masterclasses for the free 99. I do it every Thursday if permitted. If you want to connect with me, you can click the link in my bio. I offer one-on-one mentor sessions. A few of you have popped up and can vouch for, even though I'm really not a receipt girl. Okay, I'm good, receipt lady. I'm good with doing what I do and how I do it. But there are several young ladies who actually popped in here and who were communicating and that I actually mentored. You can also, I'm a one-on-one, hands-on type of person. I love this form of teaching, the visuals, the presentations, the teaching. This is just my method. You can also join me and other phenomenal, amazing coaches. Coach Derek popped up. Riz is in the process of becoming a coach. Emmanuel Mind Your Mental is another coach. We have Hormiga, Tamika. Also, if you want to join me, I encourage you all to join me by clicking the link in my bio and joining Mind Your Mental Discord. It is a phenomenal platform, a community of respectable, honorable, close-knit coaches and members, right? That feed off of each other, positive energy. We help each other. We mentor and educate one another. Each of us, there are a plethora of coaches and mentor who operate within their expertise. Okay. And so if you want to connect with me, I invite you to join the Discord. You can do so by clicking the link in my bio, and that will automatically send you an invite into the Discord, and then you will be connected to it, and instructions on how to navigate the Discord, because I know it can be a little overwhelming, how you can access me and how you can access the other coaches, how you can connect with other light and like-minded men and women who are also on a journey to mastering self and mastering their reality, who is forging healthy relationships, who is sitting down and healing, getting the information that you need. It's also another way where you can ask me questions in there. There's a section in there that will allow you to personally ask me direct questions. I also, starting October 7th, this Monday coming, I'm going to be popping up in there Monday evening, 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. and answering questions. Answering questions. So if you ever have any questions, it's in a more personal, intimate setting, I'll be there. You're welcome to join. It is an actual phenomenal, a phenomenal community, and that is the family. The monumental family is what I decided to connect myself with, join. And those of you who know me, I just don't trust. I don't, not, let me rephrase that. I am very mindful, very cutesy, very demure, right? Over my baby. And so I am completely, sincerely honored that I am connected with other like-minded coaches and mentors, right? That are experts in their field that I can interconnect with, right? That we can share with, that I trust, that I respect. That's what's incredibly important. And so when I say that the whole team is phenomenal at what they do, Sweet Tea just joined. Hi, my love. And for those of you who click the link in my bio, Sweet Tea, aka Terry, she's the go-to Oh, can you put the term? She's the technical, I think it's called technical director. She's a technical director of Monumental. She handles a lot of important steps when it comes to helping you navigate through and to, yes, technical director. Hey, I did it. See, I'm getting it. So she is the one who you will be in connection with, who you will be directed to if you have and don't bombard her with the questions. She have just dropped tutorial welcome video for all new members who join the Monumental team. When you join, I do believe that it is set up in a way where you will be directly in front of the welcome video. And if you have any other questions after you actually put the work in, do your due diligence, and don't be lazy, then feel free to message her. And she is such a beautiful soul, sweetheart. She will help you in any way that she can. It is connected to your welcome message. Okay, cool. Cool. So I encourage you all to join, okay? Because these Thursday evenings that I come before you and give the master classes on the various topics dealing with all things self-mastery are only just band-aids. They're fundamental principles and practices. However, remember what I said in the beginning. It's one thing to obtain the information, it's another thing to embed the information, to take hold of the information, right? And it's entirely different to be in practice using the information. You do not keep what you don't cultivate. So when it comes down to you putting yourself into alignment, getting into position to attract whatever it is, whoever it is, these things are absolutely imperative for, let me come back up to my imperative for you to know. Okay. And so I encourage you to join the Discord. And if you would like to work with me one-on-one, all of the information is in the link in my bio. Thank you so very much. Each and every one of you who have came, shared your beautiful energy, exchanged positive energy with me. Infinite gratitude. I hope you have enjoyed what you've heard. I hope it touched you in a certain way. And I hope that it made you say, ouch, ooh wee. I need to do something different because I'm tired of repeating the same stories. I'm tired of healing after 10 years, right? So I appreciate all of you. Absolutely. Yes, all of them are phenomenal. So infinite gratitude for those of you who know, okay? It's never bye. It's never bye. It's until next time. So I will see many of you in the Monumental Discord. Make sure when you get in there, you direct message me or tag me, let me know so I can say, hey, love, hey, I'm here. Welcome you personally, right? And so we can communicate. So until next time, Tiffany, infinite gratitude, my love, Sun LT. Until next time, infinite gratitude, and divine enlightenment to you all.